Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. So today's video is going to be a review of A Fall from Grace, Tyler Perry's movie that just dropped on Netflix. As you might be able to hear, we've got the wind ambience with us again today. Just the weather in London this week has just been hella windy, so bear with. Obviously, when the trailer dropped from this, like a lot of the stuff that I saw on Twitter was actually was quite negative. People were saying, you know, it's another story that's misogynistic. Tyler Perry hates black women. We're sick and tired of this tired narrative that he keeps doing. And a lot of people were coming for Tyler Perry because he doesn't have a writer's room. He writes everything by himself. In terms of when I saw the trailer, it was just a kind of a thing where I was just going to watch it and, you know, judge from that. For those of you who have watched it, were you skeptical going into it? And for those of you who haven't watched it, are you just kind of, you know, here today to kind of see if, you know, you should watch it or you shouldn't watch it? Let me know. I don't really see the problem with him just writing his own stuff by himself. But if someone could enlighten me why it's such a big issue that he doesn't have a writer's room, please let me know in the comments. In terms of what I kind of thought it was going to be, I actually have not watched a Tyler Perry movie in full. I've watched like snippets here and there. I might have like stumbled across his film on BET and not watched it all the way through. And obviously I've seen memes and clips, but I haven't watched a Tyler Perry film all the way through. I do plan to like kind of go back and watch all of the classics and stuff. But in terms of what I thought going into it, I knew it was going to be overdramatic, and I kind of thought it was kind of be like Lee Daniels style. Lee Daniels is like kind of like overdramatic, like you know it's going to be overdramatic, but it's still entertaining, and that's kind of what I thought going into it. As I suspected, it's a dramatic storyline, and you know the opening is a cop unsuccessfully trying to talk somebody out of jumping to their death. And it kind of foreshadows, it kind of leaves a little Easter egg there to the kind of title, Fall from Grace. What revelations will come to light? So the cop forms like the main couple in the film, which is the cop and the lawyer, Jasmine, who's a public defender. Who ends up being the public defender for a case that is kind of like become a big case where they live, and it's about this concerning Grace, obviously the title's A Fall from Grace, who killed her husband, has been accused of killing her husband. So obviously, notoriously, public defenders get their clients to plead guilty, and Grace is more than willing to do that. She wants to plead guilty. And Jasmine, obviously, who is the lawyer, is more than happy to oblige. Her main job was basically just to go to the prison to see Grace and get her to sign the papers, and that would be that. So at first, she's kind of detached from the case, and then it becomes clear, as she begins to do her own investigations, it becomes clear that her client may not be guilty, and now she wants to fight to beat the charges. Obviously, there's some resistance from the office, but she wants to go ahead with that anyway. And then we go on the journey of knowing what really happened. It turns into more drama, and then there's a twist at the end. Obviously, there's some juicy finds in the court case. You can expect that. You can expect there to be some reveals. You can expect them to be a twist. And for me personally, in terms of the twist that happened, I knew there was probably going to be a twist at the end, but that wasn't necessarily the twist that I was thinking of. And I was quite surprised by the twist, and I actually really enjoyed it. I feel like the best part of the film is the last 10 minutes. Because it just picks up so dramatically, like it's literally jam-packed. It's literally just picks up out of nowhere, and it's jam-packed because, you know, you think it's over, and then you look at the time and you're like, there's like 20 minutes left. Like what else is there? What will happen? 20 minutes left. Are they leaving this for a sequel? Like what's gonna happen next? So keep your eyes peeled for the final part of the film. There's this cop. I feel like it's a running joke in the film, but there's a cop. I'm not gonna tell you which cop it is, but he keeps arresting people and then telling them not to move and then going to another room or going to another place. And he's just literally like the worst cop ever. I just don't understand it. Like there was times where he could like handcuff the person to something, but he just handcuffed their hands. So then obviously when he's not watching them, they could run off. But yeah, just a little mini spoiler, but that was quite funny. And I'd say it has like two endings. Like it has a happy ending, and then maybe not an unhappy ending, but a kind of anti-hero ending, which again I loved. I found it entertaining. I'm not sure whether it's just I'm not sure whether they're leaving the door open for a sequel, but I enjoyed the kind of alternative-ish ending. So yeah, they did kind of touch on some kind of social commentary, social topics. Obviously, public defense lawyers, I guess maybe taking a jab at the fact they're very plea happy and they're just happy to, they're very plea happy, and because of their limited funding, they don't really encourage taking things to court because things like DNA testing or looking into blood splatter and stuff like that all costs money, which they don't have. So therefore, it is easier for them to cop a plea, and therefore potentially putting innocent people in prison. And also kind of touches on the attitudes of public defense lawyers, because they feel that they are doing them a service, because obviously they're not a private lawyer that are charging them like £10,000 retainer. The people that they are defending should be grateful for them, or more grateful than some of them are. Because she made the comment about, she's defending drug dealers that have more money than her, and they are like treating her like she ain't shit, basically. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Do you feel like public defense lawyers are a bit judgy? I've never been in the court system or anything like that. I've never dealt with a public defender. Do you feel like they are very prejudging? They feel like you should automatically be grateful for them, even though they may not be doing an adequate job? And then it also kind of touches on respectability politics, because a lot of the time it was like, well, I want to defend your case because I've never met anyone who I knew was guilty, and look at your rap sheet, you don't even have a record or anything, you go to church, you bake cookies for the kids, so I want to help you because how could you be this criminal? I guess it's easier for people to get behind you when your record is clean, and oftentimes people might misjudge you even when you're innocent if you have a record, because a lot of the time you see people going in prison for 20 years for something that they didn't do because people assume that they were guilty because of prior charges. So what do you feel like? Was there kind of respectability politics going on there? Is that a conversation to be had? What do you guys think? Also kind of bringing up, there's a topic here about, older women being scammed by young men. Is this a bit misogynistic? Is this perhaps perpetuating the idea that a young man could only be with a considerably older woman for her money? What do we think? Because we see it time and again. It's often very sensationalized. We see these mamas out here sending money. We see it a lot with shows like 90 Day Fiancé, where where people are just using older women for their money or for a visa. What do we think? Do you feel like that view is inherently misogynistic, perpetuating the idea that older women are not necessarily desirable? Or do you feel like this is facts? This is way too common and therefore we should bring light to it? What do you guys think? I just feel like when he's perpetuating the idea again and again and again, it does lean towards the more misogynistic part. Moving on to the kind of acting, obviously Tyler Perry is in it. He plays like a serious role. I feel like he was, okay in the role. Like nothing was bad about it. Like he did decent in his role. Overall, the acting was okay. It could have been better. Sometimes it was over dramatic. But overall, it was basically what I expected. I felt like the standout performances of the film were from Brisha Webb, who plays Jasmine. I thought that she had a very strong performance. There were some bits where it was a bit overdramatic, like when she was arguing with her husband sometimes. It went a bit overboard, but overall I feel like her performance was really strong, and I was really impressed by her performance. Another standout performance I think was from Cecilia Richard. I feel like she can't do any wrong. She's an iconic actress. She always does an amazing job. I loved her character and I loved her character arc. Of course, we also had the classic stock villain, Makad Brooks. And yeah, I liked him as a villain. I saw it straight away. Like, I knew he was not a good guy. But I feel like, yeah, he played the villain well. In terms of the cinematography, I didn't really have high hopes for it. I feel like it was quite simple. The set design was standard. Obviously, this was done, I'm assuming, in his new studio. Set design was standard, what I'd expect from a set. I feel like the editing and cinematography could have been a bit better. I feel like the color grading could have been a bit smoother. I feel like sometimes they dialed it down a bit too dramatic. Obviously, like the blue tone when they're in prison cells or in that room where they're talking to their lawyer. I feel like maybe that grading could have been a bit smoother. And the score was quite dramatic, but I felt like I would have appreciated a more original score because it felt like they had dragged most of it from the archives. But, you know, I wasn't expecting a masterpiece, but overall, production-wise, it was okay. I think overall, taking everything into account, I'd give it a 2.5 out of 5. But I actually really enjoyed the film. It isn't a serious film, classic film, but it's one of those ones where you can't really take it seriously. You're just there for the drama. It's a very fun and entertaining experience. It's one of those films that you'd probably watch at a sleepover or something like that. Even though it has some heavy issues in there, I would say it's one of those films that are a bit lighter. I'd say it's basically almost like Empire, but without the music. That's what I would compare it to. Yeah, I'd actually really recommend watching this film. In terms of, you know, the kind of initial talk about the film, I just feel like everyone should just watch it and judge for themselves. I wouldn't really say it's that much of a problematic film, to be honest. Pretty much like any other overdramatic film. But yeah, let me know if you're going to check it out, and let me know what you thought of it if you have watched it, and let me know what you thought of this review. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have subscribed, don't forget to put my notifications on so you know when my next review is dropping. So yeah, till next time guys, bye.